Jeff Thielke, coach, distinguished contributor. Jeff Thielke started teaching coaching at Whitefish Bay High School in 1969. For the next 34 years, Jeff worked in the high school as a teacher of industrial education, driver education, and athletic activities director. Jeff coached boys freshman basketball for 7 years, boys JV basketball for 5 years, and boys varsity basketball for 16 years. His teams won 4 conference championships, made 4 state championship appearances, and captured 2 state titles. The 1996 championship team was part of a historic undefeated season. In addition, Jeff was an assistant in a very successful cross-country team for 7 years and an assistant coach in boys track and field for 18 years, focusing on sprint and hurdle events. Numerous track athletes had outstanding conference and state performances, with some continuing to hold state records. Jeff was named Whitefish Bay High School Athletic and Activities Director in 1987 and served 16 years in that position. During his tenure, he was instrumental in forming the Lois Wolf Track and Field Invitational, the Bob Bradley Gymnastics Invitational, the Morgan Byers Swimming and Diving Invitational, and the Richard Van den Haven Cross Country Invitational. He was honored as District 7 Athletic Director of the Year in 1996 by the Wisconsin Athletic Directors Association. Jeff stressed active student participation in the life of the school and advocated excellence in athletics, activities, and the arts. Jeff Thielke.
Guys can get tears too.
You were there with Dan.
Yeah. John, thank you very much. You have a very admirable time in this selection process for this Hall of Fame induction and the inductees from the past and the future. It is going to be a Herculean task. To the committee that is in the selection process, I thank you very much for your consideration. And specifically, I'd like to thank my cohort for many years in basketball, Liz and Jack Blyer, in making that nomination. In preparation for this, it was awfully difficult to not just sit down and keep naming people after player. So in general, I'm going to thank all of you at once, because I'm a firm believer that each and every person in this room has been a contributor to excellence in athletics at Whitefish Bay High School. And I mean that sincerely. Thank you. Dante, Liz, Bill, I'm honored to be a part of your class. And thank you for the everyone involved, not only in athletics, but activities, coaches of the past, even coaches of the future, I think I have to consider, and all the athletes in every sport. 1969, that's a long time ago. But yeah, that's when I started. And I think it's important to mention how lucky, and I mean absolutely lucky I was. You can probably count on one hand the number of hirees in the school district of Whitefish Bay that were hired with no teaching experience whatsoever. So I have a big thank you to a man named J. Harold Rose, who was a longtime principal here, and took a chance on hiring me at the age of 22, right out of college. Another person that was my first encounter in teaching was a person by the name of Bob Hopley. And Bob and I, for many years, ended up to be the overseers of the industrial arts and the driver education programs in the high school. And Bob was also a assistant football coach and a golf coach. And so the opportunities for me that he presented, introducing me to all the coaches within the district, was very helpful initially. As John mentioned, I had the opportunity to coach in track and field, cross country, and basketball. And just a quick story, as Dante related to his quick stories first year of coaching. When I was hired, there were virtually no openings, and for coaching positions, because when I was hired, I told Dave Rose that I would be willing to do anything to get involved. And when I got here for the fall for the teacher orientation, he called me right back in and said, guess what, there's going to be an opening in track and field. And I said, I'll be glad to take it. But it's going to be specifically in the sprints and hurdle events. And probably like Liz, when I was in high school, it was half mile and mile. But I did not want to give up that opportunity. And Earl Blackie Zamzo was the head coach. And he had brought me down a couple of books, a couple of articles, and said, hey, we haven't done real well in the hurdles lately. I want you to really concentrate on it. So just a little follow-up story. There was one returning letterman, and by the name of Jerry Block. And Blackie had said, we got to get more numbers. So we kind of put together a plan that every single athlete was going to take starts out of the blocks in the indoors, bar none, including weightmen. And we worked on it every single day. And lo and behold, probably no change now in that most coaches concentrate on the conference indoor, the relays, and the conference outdoor. So as Blackie said, we gotta have these kids ready for the indoor. So after going through these hurdle events, there was a weightman that actually became a hurdler. Bob Albright, if I remember the name, he was a tight end in football by the name of Brian Anderson. There was a high jumper by the name of Jerry Moses that was more than willing to run the hurdles. There was a sprinter by the name of Jerry Just, never ran the hurdles. We brought him in. And there was a 440-yard dash man by the name of Bob Berge. Hadn't run hurdles since junior high. Came on in. The conference meet, we went 1, 2, 4 in the finals, and in the lower hurdles we went 1, 2, 3. It was just an absolutely incredible start. And that year Jerry Block finished second in the state in the 120-yard high hurdles. From that point on, it was just like, oh, here they come, next one. We had a lot of success through the years. Another state champion, Jim Smallins, several state place winners, Mark Sanzo, and Bob Four, and Dan Linney. So it was really, really a great experience for me and coach, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. The second year, Dante mentioned Nick Keel. He approached me and said, we're going to approve a second position in cross country. So would you like to be Vandy's assistant? And I said, yeah, well, after meeting him during the track season, because he was the distance coach, I welcomed him. Well, I was kind of a gopher for Vandy. He ran the show, believe me. he ran the show, but I was his gopher, and I'd run around, because, you know, big van, wasn't gonna be running with the kids. Well, I'd run out, and I'd take the times for them, and all that, but the one thing that I can take from that assisting, he was like a psychologist. That guy could write a book of sports psychology. He really dealt so well with young people. So Vandy and all the cross-country people, I thank you as well. Also in that second year, there was an opening in freshman basketball. I think it was Leo Protz that was coaching before that at the freshman level, and he was going to retire. In fact, Bob Albrightson was the JV coach, and Jack Needle was the varsity coach. And I spent 7 years in that position and loved it immensely. In fact, as I look back, is there any particular group or team or whatever that's more important than the other? They're all worth it. I love them, whether it be freshman, JV, or varsity. Spent then 5 years on the JV, and then Jack came in as the varsity coach. Boy, we had coached a long time together. And then I believe it was also 82, I believe, that I started at the varsity level. And it was thoroughly enjoyable. Now, as you go back and think about experiences, and as I said, every team and every player was just as important. I can't deny that the greatest memories are the state tournaments. And there was the first in 1990, and then there was the string in 96, 97, and 98. And as John said, the historic one, of course, in 96, it's pretty tough. I mean, it's happened several times, but pretty tough to ever go undefeated in a basketball season. So that's certainly one of the greatest memories, probably in the history of the school. Tied in with that, I remember this back when I retired in 2003, there was one of the parents that came up and said, man, if you add up the years that you spent in basketball, and Jack Blyer spent in basketball, and Mike Kerner, who was the freshman in JV basketball coach for years, and you add those all up, you've got about 70 years of basketball experience, which is phenomenal. So a guy like Mike Kerner, Jack Blyer, and even a couple of freshman coaches, Mike Brand coached, Jerry Gerhard coached, and I see several even basketball team players here. One from that 96 undefeated team. I thank you very much. The experience is absolutely memorable and exciting. As John said, 1987, I got approached by Larry Grant and about becoming the athletic director. And believe me, I welcomed him. I was excited. I love sports. I love the contact. And he said, well, I'm going to give you the job, but I want you to come back in 1 week and tell me what types of things that you'd like adjusted or changed. And gosh, I thought about it. I thought, what the heck would I want to be adjusted? The history here is phenomenal. It's a privilege to be in that spot. But when I came back, I said, really two basic things. One, I really thought we needed to get back to encouraging the student population to become more involved. I don't care if it was multiple sports. I don't care if it was multiple activities. I don't care if they were in the arts program. I also thought they could participate in the athletic program. I just thought involvement was so very important. I was committed to that. And maybe cut my own throat a little bit, but from that point on, I had to attend with Larry Grant all the parent association meetings and houses, and all the orientation sessions, and meet with all the class advisors, but I welcomed the opportunity to give that pitch. And just a reflection on, and this is for everybody here, past and present. If you look at the inductees right now, the Liz, the Taz, the Mary Mannings, the Bill Hilgendorf, who am I missing? They're all multiple sport athletes. Think about that. They're all multiple sport athletes. And that's again why I'm a firm believer in golf. Second thing I asked them, there was a tradition kind of way back when under Nick Thiel, at the end of the year, we'd have an athletic banquet. So I said to Larry Grant, I want to have those athletic banquets again. And at those banquets, be able to make presentations of plaques for dedicated years of service. And he couldn't say no because I walked in with a plaque and he was going to be the first one to receive it. And that is a true story. I know Jim has done an admirable job of presenting for his dad, but in that athletic director role, I do want to stress and re-emphasize how much help Bill provided. And we were an advantage here with him in this community. Not that he hired the best officials or favored one thing or another, but we were just definitely an advantage because of his involvement in athletics. And he was always there, willing to do it anytime, any place. And the second one, of course, would be the best athletic secretary in the state of Wisconsin, is Dolores St. Ange. I've got to introduce my mother first. That's my mother, Marion, and she wouldn't miss this for a thing. In fact, she had a mishap about a month ago of breaking her hip, and look at that. There she is. And of course, my wife Mary and her sister Diane. I'm very proud of the fact my sons graduated from this high school. One actually received the William Hilgendorf Memorial Award, and the other one received the Marsh Rebo Memorial Award. I'm very proud of that, as are they. If there's one disappointment today, I'd probably say that I wish they were here. And I wish, most of all, even my grandkids here, because that's my life right now, is my grandkids. But I was telling Coach Albrightson that I got a text on the way down here that the two grandsons, that's the twins, 8 years old, won their flag football game. So I was very happy about that. In closing, I'm just going to, about 3 days ago, I got an email from a former track athlete. And my connection to him, and his name was Tim Peschke, he was a great pole vaulter. You can see Tommy back here, another big, great pole vaulter. I don't know who's got the record,
He does.
Okay.
But I got the steak.
Anyway, Tim sent me this, and it just, one of those things almost brought tears to my eyes. Hey, Coach Thielke, congratulations on the High School Hall of Fame. You made a big effect on our lives, Coach. You are a happy example of authority and friendship. I always felt good about going to your class and seeing the friendships between you and your peers, our teachers. You created a lot of happy faces. Mine is one. Thank you, and again, congratulations, Coach. P.S. On another note, the Badgers are still alive. And I know you're psyched. So I'm psyched. I have a smile, and I hope I've provided a smile to many of you. Thank you very much.
Wow. Excellent. This concludes our ceremony. I would ask all inductees or the representatives to step forward for a group photo opportunity. We do have refreshments over there, some really nice cookies, if you haven't seen them. And if you don't want to eat it here, take one home with you. And we have some water also. But you're welcome to stay and socialize and talk to our inductees. But thank you for coming, and hopefully we will see all of you again next year. Thank you.